Hey, and welcome to Thursday. Oh wow, that's amazing when you have those days where time flies so much that you're like, what day is it? But time and space is relative, right? Anyway, I'm just here to remind you that whatever's going on in your mind, it is just a thought, a suggestion, and a thought can be changed. But the problem is most of us don't believe that. We believe that because you are thinking it and therefore you are having an emotional reaction and a physical reaction, you believe that that is the truth. You believe that because it feels familiar, it must be the right thing. It must be good for you. But the most abused people stay in abusive relationships, not because they want to, not because they don't dream or hope or long for a better future, but because they are addicted to the old future for that which feels familiar. This is a very intense example, but I am using something intense to catch your attention. I just did a talk on digital well-being, and research has shown that a lot of us has an attention span of 8 seconds. That's less than a goldfish. So I thought I'd just throw one in there to make sure you still stay with me, because it's important that you hear this. We must choose life. And that's a choice no one else can make for us. It's kind of like building a house. We can all agree that if we want to build a house, we have to start not only talking about it, thinking about it, daydreaming about it, we have to go out and source the materials. But perhaps even more important than that, we have to start doing the work. We have to get the pieces of wood over, and we have to start using nails and a hammer and whatever else, how else you would build a house. Maybe you use stone, cement, I don't know. But we have to choose it. Choosing something different, choosing a new thought is something only you can do, but it's 100% possible. And so in my talk today, someone was like, oh yeah, I really wish that other people would share their hardships, that they would, instead of talking about their success, it would be like, oh my God, I feel terrible and I feel shit and I feel this and I feel that. And on one hand, I totally relate, right? Because we want to be able to relate, because if something feels too far out and away from us, too unattainable, why would we even give it a go? Right? So if you're sitting there going, well, that's all right for you, Josie, because you have all of this, and you have a nice career and you do what you love, and it's easy to create to have energy to do something new or to try something different, or to do all that mindset stuff when you already have the foundation. Yeah, but I only had the foundation because I practiced, because I decided to go out there and find the materials. And even when I couldn't afford the materials, I started in my head, I started building that house. And even when my fear kicked in, I was still building that house. And even when the demons came and it was dark and it was nighttime and it was windy and it was cold and everything was on fire and my heart was breaking, my life was falling apart, I was still building the house. You have to choose life. You have to choose other thoughts that actually makes you feel good about yourself. And that is why this whole thing on social media, I get it. It's nice to hear other people also finding life hard at times. I totally get it, so that we can feel like it's attainable. If she or he can do it and they are feeling that shitty, or they are feeling that overwhelmed, or they're doubting themselves so much, if they can do it, then I can do it. I get that. But if that's what you're doing with yourself every single day, if when you're noticing your brain giving you a million reasons for why you feel that way that you do, or why you are the way that you are, or why you've not created, or why you're not even trying to build the house that you want, the house being a metaphor of your dream life, right? When you're excusing yourself, when you're going, well, it's because my parents didn't do this thing, or they did this other thing, or when you're doing well, it's life's fault because life took my parents away altogether, right? Or it's my boss's fault because they're always bringing me down. Or Josie, I just don't have the time or the money. And if I had, then I would. And I'm like, no. And that's it's a hard truth, but it's also the only truth. We have to choose life. We have to choose life. We have to choose to build that beautiful, amazing future dream home every single day in every single way. Again, remember, your dream home is symbolic. It's a metaphor of you living your brightest, most amazing, happiest, wealthiest, most abundant, most beautiful, most fun, most joyful life. We have to choose life. Just because it's a thought doesn't make it real. Most of our thoughts, I think I told you before, I don't know if I did a lot of talks today, we have between 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Most of those, for most of us, are the same thoughts that we had yesterday. So you're walking down the street and there's a smell that reminds you of your grandmother's house. And for a moment, you're kind of happy. You're like, oh, this feels good. But then the next thought you're having is like, oh shit, in my grandmother's house, then my dad came and he had said this horrible thing that made me feel so unworthy and so like nothing. And then actually, then that's how I attracted this other partner in my life. And that's why blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, from being, this is a great smell, this reminds me of something yummy and amazing and my grandmother's love, all of a sudden you've gone down an Alice in Wonderland spiral into a place that essentially is your brain giving evidence to your self-esteem of why you are where you are. And as much as that is true, because it means that it wasn't your fault, no, it wasn't your fault that your dad did X, Y, and Z, or that he didn't do this or she didn't do that. That wasn't your fault and it should never have been done. But unless you decide to step out of that victimhood, unless you decide to choose a different story, then you are literally picking up the past and placing it in your future. It's that simple. And then you will never have another experience. You will never create that dream home. We have to choose life, even when the going gets tough. But the best way to start is now. Woo! And you're still with me. It's been 6 minutes and 49 seconds, 50 seconds. Woo! So I know that you are ready to choose life. Otherwise, you wouldn't have tuned into me and my frequency. You would have gone on to someone else's page, and that's cool. That's your thing. Choose life. I don't care what society is telling you. I don't care what happened in your past. Like, I send you love. My compassion is there. But do not let your past and your past experiences and your past programming that is triggering an emotion that feels familiar, so you're stuck in your addictive circle of the old story of I am not enough, it will never be enough, I'm not good enough, I can't have this, I can't trust this. Let all that shit go. Whenever you notice you're going down that spiral, let it go and replace it with a new story straight away. When you're noticing the past coming up and your brain is telling you, do you remember all these terrible things happened? And your emotion is then, your physical body is creating all these emotions because the body doesn't know it's not happening right now. So then you're kind of reliving trauma. And that then sends a signal to your brain that goes, and that is why I will not try this new thing. Josie, in fact, I won't even sit down to draw my new house because, I know where I'm going to end. I'm going to end up in the past pattern, right? You have to choose life. You have to choose life no matter how many times someone says something hurtful or someone breaks your heart. You have to choose life. Even if you get ill, you have to choose life. Even when everything that you know, everything that you have loved is taken away, you have to choose life. Because life is choosing you. And how I know that? This is regardless of religion. I know that life is choosing you because life is choosing to breathe life into you. And as long as life continues to breathe life into you, it means life believes in you. I mean, that's evolution. Life is clever. Life of the power that created that everything that we see around us, the universe, us, you and me, this table, etc. The power that created all of that power is choosing specific people, specific atoms, specific proteins, specific electrons to stick around for the highest good of all, for the evolution, for the expansion of this entire project called the universe, right? So from where I sit, this is quantum physics. From where I sit, as long as life is choosing to breathe life into you, it means life believes in you. It means you have purpose. Even if you don't give yourself that credit, even if you are like, yeah, everyone else has purpose, but I don't. Believe in yourself. Choose life because life is choosing you. Continue to choose life. Whenever you're noticing your brain telling you an old story, that's you literally holding on to the past and like placing the past ahead of you. So it's a roadblock and you can't create a new future. Don't do that. Choose life. Replace the old stories with new empowering stories. Visualize about this dream house, draw it down, write about it, talk about it. Because the more you talk about it, think about it, write about it, get inspired about it, get hyped about it, maybe watch movies about how to build this house. Like, really do your fucking research, put your whole heart and passion into it, because then you're already creating it. And that's the true power of manifestation. Manifestation is not I sit down and then it just comes and I absolutely don't think about it or don't feel into it. Manifestation is pouring your whole self in to a really beautiful, I mean, this is positive manifestation, pouring yourself into a really beautiful, creative, abundant, healthy, wealthy, loving, juicy, fun, adventurous future you. But it starts by choosing new thoughts that feel beautiful, that feel empowering. You gotta choose life. Have a good day.